Um, Today, honestly, I just really wanted to talk about our health and fitness. As women, as moms, we need to make time for ourselves, like
Mm,
to develop and to grow to the person that we want to be, right? To
true.
grow and to shine. So for me, like it was no, there was no two way about it. Like I had to have this woman come on today. This woman that I'm talking about, like I feel like she needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce her, and I pray that I do her justice. I've got Shile with me, Shile from Shile's Fitness. She's a fitness and health coach. She helps us ladies 30 plus, to not only lose fat but gain muscle, stay strong, grow old gracefully, strong and healthy. She is also the founder of African Mummy, a huge community supporting moms, supporting women in general. So I'm so excited to have you here, Shile. Hi, Shile. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for the invitation, and I'm really honored to be here. And that was an amazing intro. I
Oh,
don't
okay,
think I
thank
could
you.
have
Because I
done
was
that
like,
better. I don't think I could have done that better, but that's
all right,
amazing.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you
No,
very
no,
much.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Obviously, as a fitness coach, you're also a mom, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I think that's what makes your knowledge even more invaluable because there's so many fitness coaches out there, but having one that can actually identify with the struggles of being maybe not struggles, it's a bit tricky being a mom, trying to keep on top of your fitness with work and everything. I'd like you maybe to start with how your journey started into fitness.
Mm, okay. For me personally, how did I get into fitness?
Mm-hmm.
I've just always been someone that is really into health and fitness. So I wouldn't say
Okay.
I was always into like core fitness, but I've just always enjoyed or I like the idea of keeping fit. I've always done that. I think most people do. Whether or not you follow through is a different story, right?
Exactly.
But
That's another thing.
I've always kind of just dabbled into it, exercise, do stuff, run, join running groups. I've always done that since forever, since I've known myself, right?
Okay.
And as I became a mom, then it's a different story. You're single, it's easier, you run around, you're not worried about anyone. And then you get married, then you're like, okay, there's a different level of responsibility, right? And you have that, and then you become a mom. And it's not you don't it doesn't necessarily have to be in that order. But in my case, because I'm talking about personal experience, it wasn't that order, and things change from not just your body, also responsibility, and then
Mm.
you have work, you have your 9 to 5, and some people also have side hustle like myself. It's like
Exactly.
you have so much you're doing, and
Mm-hmm.
how do you manage it all? How do you juggle it all? For me, I've just always made sure that whatever I was doing, either I'm incorporating fitness into it or I just make time because, and it's always been that way, you know.
Okay, because I was
When
going to ask you,
yes,
like, did you find it easier when your children were younger? I don't know how
no,
many or how old they are.
no. So I have
Okay.
one boy is a little bit older now,
Okay.
and when I became a mom, it was quite difficult. So I wouldn't lie, it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
something I was really focused on. And again, this is also very good to also let people know sometimes you might, there'll be certain areas of your life where you would neglect something sometimes, and there's also time as well. So there's time and place, and what I would just encourage people to do is to try as much as possible, whatever it is you can get in. So you don't always have to, find time to go to gym 1 hour a day. You might not be able to do that. But if you're a new mom,
Mm-hmm.
like myself, when I became a new mom, I did a lot of walking with my son. So I would take
Okay. So
strollers
just
and we
put him
do
in a
long
buggy and
walks.
go straight to the
Exactly.
park.
I would just get something done.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even have time for the gym. I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't get to the
Exactly.
gym.
I
And
appreciate the honesty. So
yes,
no one's out there
I
feeling like
couldn't.
I can't go
Yes.
to the gym, but you have alternatives.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I was very active with my son. So we did a lot of like in my community, there's there's a play center for children. You go and
Mm-hmm.
take them. So there was a lot of activities with mom and child. So you
Mm-hmm.
would have like yoga, exercise with the kids as well. And then we just take long walks. And I had a lot of bonding time with him because I didn't have any help. So
Okay.
it was difficult and was very tough as well. Because I'm
Okay.
in, a different country. I'm in diaspora. My mother's not here. Like if you were back home, I'm from Africa. I'm from Nigeria originally. So if I
Okay.
was back in Nigeria, I have so much help. I didn't,
Yeah. So your support
and it was
system is
difficult.
in a different country and you having to be,
Exactly.
by yourself
Yes.
more or less, and
Yeah.
being a
So
parent, being a wife, the
exactly.
responsibilities, and just
Exactly.
coping with all of that. But like you
Exactly.
said in the
So
beginning, Sheila, you've always been like an active person. So obviously the
yes.
transition into just being a mom and then staying active might have been a little bit easier, because I find if you've always been
Mm,
active, right?
yes.
After having a child, it's more or less like, when do I get time to be active again? But I'm just
Yes.
trying to think of someone maybe that hasn't always been active and then having a child on top of that, and then it can go into like a downward
I think it's even the
spiral,
other way
more or
around.
less.
So if you've never been active and then you have a
Mm-hmm.
child, your child will make you active. You're busy with
Okay.
the child.
Mm-hmm. Like going for the
Like
walk, because you have
toddlers,
to.
you're
Yeah,
running
you have
around
no
chasing
choice.
them. But the
Mm-hmm.
only difference would be you're only focusing on that child and then neglecting
Mm-hmm.
yourself. So that happens a lot with new moms. I think the best thing from my experience and also what I would advise people to do is find a way to incorporate any activity with your child, with you having your me time. If you cannot
Mm-hmm.
separate, if you don't have childcare, if you don't have the support system, just find a way that you can have activities that involves your child and you together. So an example was, I saw something recently where they're doing strength exercise for mommy and baby. So
Mm-hmm.
all you need is your child and
And
a strap
yourself.
on. You
Mm-hmm.
put them on and then you're exercising. So they are very focused on making sure that the children are safe, but you have the children with you. Because at the end of the day, what people say is, I don't have time, I have to look after kids. Bring your kids,
Mm-hmm.
right? And let's do the exercise together. So I think, again, knowledge is key. If you look for activities like that, you will find them. It's just a case where you've been breastfeeding all night and you're too tired to even go to things like that. But
Exactly. I'm so
sometimes you
happy
would
that you
need to,
touched on it.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm not going to pretend or act as if,
Because
like,
I
it's
can
real
feel
life.
moms out there feeling like,
Exactly.
oh my God, I don't even have the energy to go and
Exactly. It's
exercise.
real
I'm a
life. And I've
horrible
been
mom.
through it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Night feeding, you were not able to sleep. But I think the most important thing, even not to even worry about exercise, because sometimes I think the
Exactly.
stress weighs on you
Mm-hmm.
to even feel better. So you need to feel better first. And then once your mind and body is ready, you can then move on to the working out and exercise. Because without that, that mental thing would always affect you with everything else. Even looking after your
Mm.
child properly. And if you don't have that, you can't do anything else. So if your cup is empty, you can help other people basically.
Exactly.
So you just need to make sure that as much as possible for new moms, get as much rest whenever you can. I know they say that a lot. When the baby's sleeping, you can sleep, but you have a lot to do. But
Exactly.
sometimes that thing can wait, right? If it's like washing
Mm.
bottles, to just get a nap, just make sure you rest. Honestly, people, we underestimate the power of rest.
Mm.
Forget exercise, rest. If you rest well, your mind is rested and you can think properly and you can do. I'll give you an example. When my son was, I think, about 3 months, I was so stressed out. I was so tired. I changed his nappy. Like, he was crying. I changed his
Mm-hmm.
nappy. You wouldn't imagine what I did. I put the dirty nappy into the same nappy, and this is what stress can do to you. And that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Like,
When
I
you're
was, I
exhausted.
was just exhausted. I wasn't thinking
Mm-hmm.
straight. And then I carried him. I cleaned everything else. I put everything else in the bin, and it was still crying. I didn't know that there was soil nappy in his nappy.
Because you're thinking, I've already changed him.
Yeah, I'm like,
So,
what is it?
mm-hmm.
You've eaten, you've done everything. What am I supposed to do? So it was until later I said, maybe he's peed again or he's pooed again. So I had to just open it. And I'm like, what is this? Like, what did I do? So I
Mm-hmm.
just really had to just take time out. I put him, I changed him, I cleaned him. I put him, somewhere safe, and I just sat down and I just rested my mind because I
Mm.
really needed to just rest and relax because
Okay.
everything could wait. I was thinking too much about, wash up and clean up and all of that. Everything can wait because if not, I would probably, it would be a different story. So I didn't want that. So I just made sure I was very conscious of resting, taking time out, relaxing. Whenever I get help, I would take it. I would
Mm.
pretend, I'm not a superwoman. I would take
Exactly.
help
I'm
whenever I
so
need
happy
it.
that you touched
That's
on
it.
rest because there's this like bounce back culture. Like for moms,
Oh
like as
yeah.
soon as you have the
Mm.
baby, your belly needs to be like in the next 2 days, you need to be back to your original size.
Yes.
There's this pressure. So I'm so happy, Shile, that you've mentioned the fact
Yes.
that take your
Yeah.
time, relax. We're not telling you
Honestly.
straight after the baby, run straight to the gym, be
Yes.
realistic. And when the
And
time is right,
yes.
then start
Mm.
going to the gym. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yes. And the society hasn't helped us as well because you see celebrities that have just had a baby and before you
Yeah, it
know it, they're
doesn't. The
all
media.
bouncing, like they're all back to normal. And it isn't, it's not normal to do that. But I'll give you another experience, which, it's a sad one, but I'll share it. I was pregnant in 2001, which was
Okay.
recent. And I was at 6 months pregnant. I lost the baby at 6 months.
I'm
And
sorry to hear
there
that.
was there's another issue that people don't talk about, which is losing your baby and still looking pregnant. And then people
Oh,
asking you about either are you pregnant or are you having a baby? When are you having a baby? So that was also a difficult one. So there are two different things we as women, moms have to deal with. You have a baby, people are wondering, oh, your baby's born. Why do you still look like this? It's okay. I can look any way I want, take your time, but it's not easy. People would put you under pressure. So that's another thing. And then there's also women that have lost babies that still look pregnant, which is
hmm.
another devastating thing, which I experienced. And I think that was where Shile's fitness really grew. I was
Hmm.
doing the fitness thing initially and I was into it, but I never really posted it or do anything about it. And after that, I just thought there's a lot of women that are going through the same thing. How was I able to, and I wouldn't lie, that put a lot of pressure on me to just not look pregnant because I was dealing with a lot of things mentally. And then
Hmm.
having people talk again and asking me so many questions, another thing. So that was very tough. And
Hmm.
I went through bereavement. I went through counseling, which was fine. And I just back into the gym. I did what I
Okay.
wanted to do. I ate well and I just started exercising. Through that, I thought I could actually help women do this as well. I then, started doing a personal training course. I went through all of that. I got my qualification. Then I said, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do. This is one of my passion. I've always loved fitness. I'm just gonna go for it. So that was how I started Sheila's Fitness properly. From
Okay.
myself, I lost the baby weight. I then showed my journey. I talked about it as well. I documented it and talked about it on my YouTube channel. And
Hmm.
now I'm just really helping not just women, that had babies, also women that are older and want to just keep fit and stay stronger and live
Exactly.
healthier and longer, really. So yeah, that's
Oh,
where
that's
that
such an
journey came.
amazing story. Like, you turned your pain, right, to purpose, and then now you're
Exactly.
encouraging other people and inspiring
Yes,
other people.
absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
it's just amazing because you never think. One second, I think my earpiece is just falling off. You, yeah, you never actually think of, I don't know, sometimes as you only see your side, if you know
Mm,
what I mean.
yes.
You only see what you are going through. And there's that
Mm,
mantra right now, you never know what other people are going through.
yes. Yeah.
Okay. So from
Yeah.
what you've shared, I'm just really touched actually. For someone to lose a child and then looking pregnant and people asking you, oh, are you still pregnant? Are you still pregnant? Then brings me to my point of not allowing people to pressure you.
Mm,
How did you come
mm,
about that? Like you said, you were stressed and it was a really difficult time. But
yeah.
how did you manage not letting other people bring you down? Of course, you used it as motivation, but in
Mm,
those moments, how did you cope with it, if that makes sense?
yeah. I think for me, because I was grieving and I needed to pour that energy somewhere,
Mm,
Because again, I can't sit at home and keep crying. I'm not that kind of person. Um, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but my grieving method is quite, just focus on something and do it and just go for it.
mm,
So that was my coping mechanism, and also the way I grieved my child that
the
way,
loss.
where I just went back into the gym. I just did what I had to do. I also ate well, and I felt better as well. Again, if you're at home, you're not doing anything, you feel worse because you're not doing it, you're not moving. I started moving,
Exactly.
and before that, I was also, while pregnant, I was exercising as well because
Okay.
I had to, and I've always done that anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
that was the best way for me. I really needed to just focus on something and also feel better through exercise, through eating right, and yeah, and looking better as well. Because again, it wasn't about what people were saying, it wasn't about what people were
For
asking me.
you.
It was just for me, and it made me feel good. And I think that was the way I kind of dealt with it. And also through therapy as well. I went through like bereavement
Mm,
therapy, which was really, really helpful. And
right.
it really helped. And that was one of the things that they also recommended, like find something that can fulfill you and you can, you be passionate about. And because I was also documenting it, it was
Mm,
also connecting with other people because I through that documentation I got a lot of feedback from other women, especially women from our community, where we don't talk about
we don't
bereavement, we
talk
don't
about
talk
such things,
about
yeah.
losing a child, we don't talk about, it's like a shameful thing, which again,
It shouldn't be because
to
everybody's
each their
going
own.
through
Yes,
it.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But I did what I had to do, and it was nice to feel like there was a community of women that were also feeling the same
Exactly.
thing.
You
I
didn't
could
feel
also connect
alone.
with them as
Mm-hmm.
well. But yeah, it felt good. It
And
felt
I
good.
suppose that's what you're providing for other women. And
Yes.
I also know you have a fitness program.
Yes, I
Like
do.
you have challenges and do you
Yes.
currently have
So
a
I
fitness
tend to do like
program right now? So
challenges
ladies,
either.
make sure
Yes,
you join.
I tend to do challenges like I did one at the beginning of the year and I did one
Okay.
like in the middle as well. So I don't have any challenge currently going on, but I
Okay.
do have a program, so a weight loss program for anyone that wants to lose weight. Whatever reason, you don't need to have every reason is valid, right?
Weight is weight,
Exactly. You need
basically.
to lose weight for any reason, whether you're a
hmm
new mom, you're losing weight for a wedding, anything. So I have like a 3-month program where I will take you through that process one on one. We would look at journaling food, we would look at exercising, we would do like one-to-one training as well. So that's like a 3-month program that I do. That's one to one. And then I do group exercises online, offline one to one as well, offline personal
Okay.
training one to one. So yeah, that's what I'm currently focusing on now. But I tend to do programs, but that the challenge is I don't have any challenge at the moment.
Okay.
But I
And you have
do have,
workout suggestions,
yes,
like
but I
videos
do
on your
have
YouTube channel where
exactly.
people can follow,
Yes,
especially moms that are working out from home. They can
exactly.
follow the videos, or even a great one because I myself, I go to the gym, but even though I've gone to the gym for a while, like on and off, let's say
Yes.
2 years, there's still this area of the gym which I want you to
Mm,
touch on. That
tell me
I
about
feel like,
it.
oh no, this is for like the big guns. Like I just have my little corner that I stick to, have my little
Yes.
routine that I do. So it's
Mm,
venturing to that side, like
mm,
what they call gym anxiety, that I want you to touch on. So I feel like
sure.
your videos are perfect because I look at the videos and I'm like, oh, I can do this next time when I'm at the gym, or I can try this. So for someone that has maybe someone like me, you've been going to the gym, but you sort of have your little routine, and you look at the big girls and the big guys, and you're like, I want to be like that one day, or you're just too shy, like
Yes,
you just
I
take your
know.
little mats and stay to one corner.
Yeah,
But watching Sheila's video, you're able to see, I can try this out, and you can get that empowerment, encouragement to move to the next side. So if you
mm,
can touch on that for
sure,
my mamas that have a bit of
sure.
anxiety,
Of course,
so please, Sheila, let us know what
sure.
we need to do.
So what I would say is if you if you're like a proper newbie into exercise,
Okay.
start from home. You know, crawl before you can walk. That's
Mm,
that's my because imagine going into gym, you've never done any or you do like
yeah.
minimal exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Try and understand what you're doing first. Because when you go into the
Exactly.
gym, it's like going into like a concert and then there's a stampede. You would be trampled on. I'm not even like it's not to scare anyone, but it's just to
Yeah,
do your homework first, do your due diligence
exactly.
to understand what exercises, what it is that you're trying to do, and then you go into the gym if you have the time. So for those that cannot make it to the gym yet because you're busy, your mom, for whatever reason, you're not going into the gym yet. I have a 30-day summer challenge. Well, it's a 30-day exercise challenge where it's 1 to 30 basically of different types of exercise on my YouTube channel. It's Shile's Fitness, and it's on there. So from
Don't worry, I've got all your.
the
I'll put all your
basics,
link in the
super,
description.
thank you.
So.
So from the basics, from you know the workout using dumbbells, using kettlebells, to just using your own body, to skipping. Even the skipping, I have like a basic starter skipping exercise. So there's different type of exercise. There's 30 in total geared towards anyone looking to start exercise. So
Exactly. So there's no
check that out.
excuse, basically.
Yes,
So
yes,
once you're at home, but imagine now you've gained the courage to say, you know what,
yes.
I've got me time. I've got someone to help me look after the children. I'll make a bit of time. I'll go to the gym. I have no
Yes.
clue what I'm doing. So maybe they can start off with a class, maybe
Yeah.
attending classes and building up the,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
if you
I
can
agree.
share a
I
bit
think
more
I
on that.
completely agree with what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Starting the class would not only get you to understand, okay, I'm at the gym, you also make friends as well. It's like a community,
Exactly.
a group.
Mm-hmm.
And from within that group, you might also have people that are regular gym goers where they can bring you in slowly, you
Mm-hmm.
know? But even if you don't want to start a class, but starting a class is absolutely, a really good way to go to build community, to make friends, and also to get yourself, you know, acquainted with the gym environment.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've done that, or even if you didn't do that and you want to go into the gym, fantastic. Go into the gym. The most important thing is to prepare in advance. So preparation could be, what am I doing today? What am I going into the gym for? Someone like me, sometimes I don't even, I don't plan my exercise. I just go in because
But
I
because you
know what
you know
I'm
what
doing.
you're doing. I mean,
Exactly.
you're a fitness coach. I can't imagine you
Exactly.
wandering
Even
around
before I was
at
a
this
fitness
point.
coach, it was more or less like, I think for me, it's just a confidence thing. And if you have it, no one can take it from you, to be honest. But
That's
I think the
true.
most important thing is prepare in advance, understand what you're going to do. So if maybe start with the treadmill, look around, focus on the treadmill, focus on like the basic ones. And
Mm-hmm.
then if you now want to go into the weight area, because the weight area is a different beast on its own, right? But the most important thing is go into that environment first, get acquainted with all other machines to understand, okay, there's other ones here. And then when
Mm-hmm.
you're ready and you're taking baby steps and you want to go into the weight area, I can promise you it's for everybody. As long as you've paid to get into the gym, you're
They didn't
just
sneak you
as
in.
entitled to it as any man with the biggest muscle in the world, or the woman with, you're just as entitled to it as anyone else. But important, prepare, understand, what are you doing? Are you looking to do? I think if you're starting out, my best advice would be preparing to do like compound exercises, like full body exercise. So rather than doing, people might say, I'm going to focus on leg today, arms today. Don't do any of that. Try as much as possible to take advantage of going into the gym and working your whole body. So the compound exercise
Okay.
will work different muscles on your body, but
Mm-hmm.
at least a couple of them. So prepare first. So when you get in, be friendly, be nice, smile, and go in as confident as you can be. Even if you're not confident, that's fine. But the most important thing is to find a space and own that space.
Mm.
So on the space, prepare in advance what you're going to do. So if you're saying, I'm only going to do 5 sets of exercise, these 5 sets would be basic ones as well. Don't do anything too complicated. Don't try to see something on Instagram, someone is somersaulting, you want to do that. No. You don't want to do that. You just
You
want to
don't
make
want
it
to
as
injure yourself.
basic as possible because you're starting
Mm-hmm.
out, right? You're trying
Mm-hmm.
to get your confidence and you're trying to understand the environment. But again, another thing would be make sure you go at the non-peak hours. So like
Okay.
really early in the mornings or like midday when everyone, not lunchtime, just before midday or really
Mm-hmm.
early in the mornings. And sometimes like really late as well, depending on the day. But
Mm-hmm.
if you know your gym, or maybe you can ask at the front desk, when is it less busy during the day? Because you want to go when no one is, when there's is not crowded, because then you don't even
Mm.
have a space to get into. So prepare in
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
advance, uh go in, smile. You don't, smiling is not
You don't
compulsory.
have to
Be
smile.
confident.
You don't
So what
want
I'm
to.
trying to say, just be
Yeah,
confident
as in
in it,
just
right?
positive energy.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you've paid to go into the gym, you're entitled to any of the equipment there. So go in, and then when you get in, go during the times that is not busy. So that way you have enough time to, think and find a spot, get in, find a spot, and on that spot. No one is coming to you, no one is going to. And trust me, most people at the weight area they're friendly. Because when you look at this really regular gym goers, they love to be asked questions. They love to
Mm-hmm.
show off and things like that. I'm not saying everybody does, but I know some people do. So even if you're confused and you get a spot, you're confused about what's what does, ask. People are
Mm.
always happy to answer because they feel like they know it and they want to show it off as well. So honestly,
Exactly.
nobody's
And everybody has a starting point, you know?
exactly. And we do most people know that, not everyone, but most people know that. And aside from even asking people that are exercising themselves, there are also personal trainers or people that work at the gym as well.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing I would say, even before all of this, would be once you know that you're going into the gym and you want to start, there's always, I think most gyms would have induction. So
Mm.
it's always advisable to do an induction first. So that induction would teach you what those equipment, what they do. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
is, you might go back and you don't remember, which is fine. But
But at least it helps.
at least start with an induction.
Mm-hmm.
Get
Mm-hmm.
in there, start with an induction. Once you're in there, go in with, at times that is less busy. And when you get
Mm-hmm.
in, find a spot, prepare the exercise you're going to do in advance. Maybe look at some of my workouts, look at the ones that you can do. Start with things like very basic. Basic meaning you can do like maybe 10 rep or 4 sets. So you pick an exercise. If it's squat, you go overhead with your dumbbells. You could use a dumbbell. You're squatting with your dumbbells and you're going overhead. Do that. That would be one, but do it 10 times and then find another exercise, do it 10 times. So if you have like 4 exercises that you're doing 10 times, you do that 10 times of those 4, that's 1 set. And then you do another one, so you can do it 4 times. So that's 40 exercises in total for one. If you don't want to go do too much, you can just start with like maybe 2 sets, 10 exercises of 4 different exercises, 10 of that twice. So that's like 10, 20 exercises each 4. And
Mm-hmm.
then you can leave it as that because you're starting out, right? And another thing is once you know the exercise you're doing, always start with a smaller weight. So whatever you're doing, because you're doing weight, right? You don't want to even use the big machines. You want to use basic things like the dumbbells or the kettlebells. So those ones, the equipment that you can actually hold and use rather than the big machines, because that you probably need someone to show you how to use it. So I think getting yourself used to the free weights, which is the dumbbells and the kettlebells and the weight plates. So those are the like simple ones that you can just use, and then just do simple exercises, squat, lunges, um, anything you can do. But there's different forms of squats as well and lunges that you can do, and you can do overhead, bicep coils, so very basic and simple. You don't want to overdo it, and also you don't want to hurt yourself as well. So while you're doing
Exactly.
all of that, it's important to also make sure that you're doing the exercise right as well. That's why I'm saying start
Mm.
simple, start with the lightest weight, and then you can do something called progressive overload, which is basically moving up slightly heavier, but
Okay,
gradually.
so
Not
increasing the
doing
weight gradually as
gradually.
you
So
go along.
that's what
Okay.
makes you toner, and that's what, because you're building up more strength and you're building up more muscle, you're becoming leaner, and again, all of that. But we're talking just about exercise now. But nothing, if you're looking to lose weight, nothing is gonna happen except you change your diet. or
Mm,
you modify your diet to a better one. But again,
okay.
starting out in the gym anxiety, I think, is all in your head. You need to be mentally prepared first before you can even go in. So we can talk about all of this, but when you're not mentally prepared, I think you will still have that. Being
Okay.
mentally prepared is just talking to yourself like, this is like, I'm just as entitled to this as anyone else.
Exactly. Being
And as
your
long as
own
I'm not,
cheerleader.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
and as long as I'm not bothering anyone, then I can go in. And maybe if you have friends that also go to the same gym, or someone, and if you've been doing the classes, you can talk to someone to, do exercise together. You can have a gym partner as well. I think that does help
Mm.
with anxiety. So you go together, and then you work out
Okay.
together
And I
as
feel
well.
like
That can help.
affirmation will also help leading up to that. That's my
Absolutely.
department. So make
Yes.
sure you have your
Love
affirmations
that.
just to encourage yourself, build up the confidence that you're talking about. And
Mm,
you mentioned a key word, feeling that you're entitled to be there just like any other
absolutely.
person because you've paid,
Absolutely.
right? So you're entitled to be there. But it's one
Absolutely.
thing to start, right? But it's
But
another thing to keep going because just
continue.
one workout is not going to get you that toned body,
Exactly.
just as one salad is not going to get you that weight
Exactly.
loss. So,
Yeah.
how do we remain consistent? What are some of the ways uh, we can remain consistent once we've started?
To remain consistent, I think, people talk about motivation, you talk about being consistent. I think the discipline is number one.
That's the key word.
So I can, if I have to tell you how many times I didn't feel like going to the gym,
Okay.
I'll be a millionaire by now.
Exactly.
I didn't feel like it, but I still did it.
So, discipline here is doing it even though you don't feel like it.
Yes. And I
Okay.
don't know how to give that to somebody. You know what I
It's a
mean?
place that you need to get to for
Yes.
yourself.
Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
my thing that I always tell clients and friends would be, find your why. I think
Mm,
once you know your why, that is something that would keep at the back of your mind, that would keep nudging you like, are you crazy? You have to
like
do this.
exactly. Think
So
about your
a
goals.
why, exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
a why could be, I want to be able to carry my grandchildren when I'm 50 or
Amen to
60.
that. Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to walk up the stairs. Like, forget the aesthetics. Forget, because we talk about,
Mm.
oh, I want to be leaner, I want
I
to
want
look
to look
nicer, I want to
nice
be
for my
sexy, whatever.
birthday and
You're you we're not thinking about your health benefit. As
mm-hmm.
women, once you're over 30, you start losing 3 to 5% of your muscle mass. Basically, those are
Mm-hmm.
things that help us move, become independent. If you're sitting, if you're
Mm.
trying to stand up, if you're
Mhm.
trying to walk up the stairs, those are things like, our bone become very, very fragile as we're getting older as
Mhm.
women, because we have a lot of hormones and things that work in our body that not due to our own fault, right? Because we're
Okay.
women. So in order to prevent that, we need to build stronger bones. And the only way we can
Okay.
do that is eating good protein and doing weight training exercises. Simple. Like,
Okay.
there's no other way. You can't even do
Okay.
surgery to get you stronger bones. You know,
Exactly.
you
You can
can't.
look because you're talking about the aesthetics of it.
Yes.
You
So you
can
can
look
look here,
that
but
way
you
via
might not be able to
surgery, but
stand.
then
You just look good, but you can't stand.
ex-
You can walk around. You can walk up the
exactly. But
stairs.
there's no judgment. Each to their
Of
own.
course,
Everyone
yeah.
has a goal.
Of
You might
course,
just be bothered about the look in this
absolutely,
season, but we are
absolutely.
more concentrating on the we're concentrating on the long term,
Yes, I
right?
think the long term is
So
the most
if you
important thing.
are,
Yeah.
looking for the long term to
Mm.
stay healthy, it's best
Yeah.
to start now and, like you said, progressive overload you mentioned.
Yes.
So slowly but
Gradually.
surely get there.
Yes.
Another thing I wanted to mention, sometimes I feel like some women are worried about looking too bulky when it comes to like strength training.
Yes.
If you can touch a bit on that, people are like, oh
Yes.
my gosh, I don't want to have like a thick neck or arms. I don't want
Well,
to,
I've been
so
I've been exercising for.
you don't
I've been doing strength
exactly.
training. I don't think I have a thick neck, or
No,
I don't know, but I know
you don't. But
I'm
people might
toned.
worry, like,
Yes.
okay,
So yeah. So people worry about this a lot, and I think this is one thing you should just think about. If you want to be toner,
mhm,
you will do exercises that make you toner. If you want to be a bodybuilder, because they're different things.
okay, that's
You
a
see loads
different
of people
look
that go to the
altogether.
gym all the time, right? You see people that are really big, and you see people that like they're just really nice and toned because they are focused on that. So people that are
Okay.
bodybuilders, they lift
Crazy weight.
considerably heavy, like heavyweights, and
Mm.
the style in which they do it as well is different because
Okay.
that's what they're building. They're looking to be bigger, and that's not what you're
Okay.
doing. So first of all, you need to worry about getting into the weight area first. Once you get into the weight
Before worrying
area,
about looking bulky.
so there's
Mm-hmm.
everything is gradual, right? Once
Mm.
you're familiar with the weight, once you're familiar with, you now know that you're lifting slightly heavier, but gradually. But you're never
Mm-hmm.
gonna go to a point where you're lifting heavy that your muscle just become ginormous.
Mm.
It's not gonna happen. And women do say that a lot, but I can guarantee you it's a myth. You will look toned,
Yeah,
but you will
obviously.
never ever look bulky or manly. For those that look like that, it's because that was their goal. They
Okay,
wanted
that's
to.
another thing to.
People
Mm-hmm.
like you have women that look that way, right? Because they do like bodybuilding competitions and they do that. And that's what they wanted. I have been lifting weight forever and I don't look like those type of women because that's not my goal, right? So if that's your goal, and you don't need to worry. The most important thing is start lifting first. Start
Okay.
lifting and then do it gradually, but you will still do it to a point where you're not lifting too heavy. Because when you
Mm-hmm.
lift extremely heavy, that's when you look like that, because that is the
Okay.
goal. But I don't think any woman is going to be lifting 200 kg or 300 kg
Mm.
at some point. So those are the goal for people that are looking, bulky. So your goal
Okay.
is to start, and when you start, focus on correct, like doing the proper exercise, not
Okay,
hurting
proper
yourself.
form.
Form
Mm-hmm.
is important.
Mm-hmm.
Also, making sure that you are disciplined enough to go back, because we're not talking about one
Consistent.
day. Yeah, consistency and discipline enough, and understanding why you're doing it. You're doing it because you're going to get older someday. You want to be independent. You don't want to live in a care home where people are carrying you around. Focus on that.
Amen.
And also looking good for yourself as well. Looking good, feeling good, and being healthy in the long run. I think that's the most important
Mm.
thing, really.
That goes a long way. I
Absolutely.
think on that note, we're going to end it there. Looking good for yourself for the long run. And if that's your aim, mama, Shile is your girl, you know?
Thank you.
So I feel like what Shile does marries well with what I do. It's all about encouragement, empowering women in general. So make sure you follow her. I'll put her YouTube link, everything
Thank
to
you.
this. So make sure you follow her programs, make sure you get on it. And at some point, Sheila, maybe I'll come to the gym, we'll do like a
Sure.
session together
Why
or
not?
something, so you
Why
show me
not?
the ropes
Anytime.
with the big girls. So yes, so that should be a that should be a fun thing to look forward
Sure.
to.